Orientation is locked. Rotate, define spec. What the flap? You bugger. There. How about that? God, what a way to start. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to do that. It's just YouTube's weird. That should be fine, though. Hopefully. Okay, let's hope that we actually get, something. Okay, we do got a viewer. Okay, now that the fiasco with YouTube's orientation is over, don't know what the hell that was all about, guys, but things with YouTube have changed majorly. So yeah. Do I got the things on? I'm not too entirely sure about that. Live video, mute. God, I have not streamed forever, have I? Here, let me just do this. Sorry, I'm far away because that's the best angle that I could get, so give me just a second. YouTube. Yeah, the orientation thing did not want to behave. I don't know why. Okay. Yeah, I'll just keep this on over here just to check the chat. So hopefully everyone is having a great morning. I just need to... No, I don't want to swipe, you dumb shit. Thank you. But yeah, I'm bored, so yeah, let's just talk, guys. Why the hell not? Just gotta check over here because for some reason the chat does not really behave on my devices. I don't know why. But yeah, we can talk basically about anything. We're just like doing a just chatting thing. My god, I need to shave. I'm getting a thing growing underneath my chin now. But yeah, we can talk about content. We can talk about whatever. Old stuff, new stuff, what I've got planned for the future, stuff like that. So, hello everyone, and good morning. Sorry for the fiasco earlier. I didn't mean it. YouTube's weird like that. I don't know why. So don't ask. Okay. Hello. Oh my god, that's a name. Hello, Zydosha Boy? Sorry if I get the name incorrect. Sorry. Like, I read, but some usernames are just ridiculous. I'm not saying your name's ridiculous. It's just there's some that are even worse. Hello. Oh my goodness gracious. Just call me Zaid. Okay. Thank you. That's much easier on my brain. Also, hello, I Condra R. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Okay. It is coming through on my phone, so that's good. So, yeah. I'm bored this morning, so yeah, let's just talk. So, hopefully, everyone's having a great morning. Hello, SB Shorts YT. Sent, I think that's a pound thingamajiggy. It's not saying it went through yet, but I appreciate it. What do you do for a living? This, pretty much. YouTube work, stuff like that. I can't really work because of my disability, epilepsy. Can't really work that much because of that. What is this stream about? We're just talking. Because why the hell not? We haven't done this in a while. I just kind of want to chill with you guys because I know, I've been kind of, like I haven't posted shit, but trust me, guys, shit's coming. It's just a matter of time. Like, I've got an editor who's working on putting the audio together right now. I have everything that I need. I have all of the audio files. I have basically the step we're at is my editor is putting together everything, like, scene by scene, because he has better effects and shit that he can do rather than me. I can't really do what his computer can. And I want to give you guys like something new, something fresh, and not make it look like it's just like, shit. So, what do I take for epilepsy? Probably shit you've never even heard of, because they're very like foreign. But I take Excopri, and I take, what's the other one? Vimpat. That's all I take. But yeah, we're basically at that stage, and then he's got to send that to me as an audio file, and then I got to add all the sound effects and music and stuff, because he's not really good with that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's basically where we're at. So it's either going to be later this month, because he's a little swamped with like Valentine's Day stuff right now. But it's either going to be early March or later this month. I promise you, it's coming. It's just a matter of time. But in the meantime, I've just been working on episode 2. And trust me, guys, it's gonna be good. It's getting a lot more darker than I originally intended it. But yeah, I just want to sit down and have a chat with everyone, because why the hell not? I like talking to my audience. It really feels like, I'm connecting with you guys. And considering there's nearly 10K of you now, that just blows my freaking mind. Like, I cannot believe we're almost at 10K subscribers. That just blows my mind. That's going to be a day. Especially considering the day when I hit 100. Yeah, that was a very emotional day, because I never thought I would even hit 50 in that matter. But yeah, we can talk about, stuff in the past. We could talk about future stuff. I just can't reveal too much about, what's coming, because we don't want to reveal, we don't want to spoil. We can talk about other things, like the most recent thing in my life was seeing the Iron Lung movie and thinking it's one of the best horror movies that I've ever seen in my life. Like, no shit. Markiplier did a fantastic job. One of the best horror movies I've seen ever since The Shining. And no joke. And it's one of my, I would say, yeah, it's one of my favorite horror movies, because one of my biggest worries with this movie was that Markiplier, being a YouTuber, like, okay, I've seen his other stuff, like Who Killed Markiplier? What was the one where it was like, choose your own adventure kind of shit? In Space of Markiplier, and then there was another one. I can't remember. There was one that came, I think, after that. Or was it In Space? I don't remember. But basically, I've seen what he can do. I've seen his production quality. And I wasn't expecting the movie to, be dog shit. I was imagining it to be a great movie. But I was afraid it would have that, like, YouTuber, like, filter on it. Like, it was made by a YouTuber. It would have, like, YouTube quality, like, aspect to it. Not at all. One of the best movies I've ever seen. And the way it was filmed, the way it was edited and produced was great. It's definitely not a movie for everyone, but it is a movie. I'm definitely going to get a copy when it comes out on DVD. And Markiplier's already said that it is coming out on a DVD, So yeah, that's definitely my most recent, like, big thing that's happened in my life, because yeah, I loved it. Seen it twice because I really didn't understand some certain aspects of it. So I needed to go back and I need to rewatch some certain scenes, because there was a lot of things that I didn't understand, like the beginning and some of the parts in it where it kind of goes like bonkers. Like, I won't spoil anything for people who want to see it. But yeah, that's about as far as I'll go with that, because I don't want to spoil. But yeah, that's really all I've been working on, is just working on the new projects recently and just trying my best to make it the best for you guys, and watching horror movies because I like to look to other areas for inspiration. And to really help with making this next project as good as it can be, I've been listening to a lot of like manga recaps and stuff, because that's what it is. It's a manga series. So I wanted to go, where the pros are so I can see what they do, because I'll be honest with you guys, the hardest part about this entire freaking thing is the visual storytelling. 110%, that's the hardest part. Like some parts, like trying to bring something to life, like certain aspects and certain scenes where it's talking about a certain thing and trying to visualize that without working too much, is really hard sometimes. And that's why I usually go back to the source so I can learn, what did this person do for this kind of shit? What did they put onto the paper? And I'm learning different things, just experimenting with different things. Like, it's an experimental process for sure. There is no doubt about that. But other than that, that's basically all I've been really doing, is just working one day at a time. I'm on break from Red Hill at the moment because, it's no spoiler at this point what the title is, because it's literally posted. So yeah, Red Hill, I took a break from it for the past couple days because I want to get something out for Valentine's Day, not for here, for DeviantArt, and I wanted to get my friend's birthday present put together. So yeah, that's been the majority of my time. Plus, I just kind of wanted to take a break from it because it's not good to force yourself to work on something when you don't want to, because you know what that leads to? It leads to forced writing, or not forced writing, rushed writing. And usually rushed writing doesn't end in good things, right? Oh, shit. But that's basically all I've been doing, just trying to make best content for you guys, because I love you guys and I want to see this channel grow. It's just a matter of time and getting it put together, because this is a whole new step for me, like a whole different kind of step. Like, it is nothing like putting together a fan fiction reading. It is like a totally different shade that requires you to really use your brain, because there's just some stuff where you really have to use your brain hard. But I really do like this like way of telling a story a lot more better, because sure, writing a story out is really cool, but this is cooler to me because it's really like, what's the word? Not personal, but I feel it encapsulates you a lot more better. Like, it catches your attention and it keeps your attention. It also puts you more into the story with the characters and feeling their emotions and feeling what is going on. And I get why those audio dramas now are all as, popular as they are. I get it now. That said, it's still a lot of work. And I have already learned things from, like, episode 1 to episode 2. Like, there's a lot of things that I've been doing differently. Like, basically I learned, the program that I use to draw all this stuff, how to add like panels and stuff, like actual panels, rather than drawing them one at a time like I was doing. God, no, that's fucking hard. But that's the hardest part, really, is just trying to sometimes visualize things and really come up with, like, how am I gonna present this without working myself to death. And with this kind of style, you can really, really get away with a lot of things. Like, a lot of things. Like, you can cheat like crazy. Like, if I can just copy paste something, you bet your ass I'm just gonna copy paste it. Because I'm not the only one who does it. Trust me, there's plenty of people who do it. It's not an uncommon thing. But yep, this is just a stream to talk about the past, what's happening right now. Because the thing that really drove me to even try something like this was Return to Beresford Apple Acres, because, as you guys know, that was a thing. It was so much work. At times I wanted to die and wanted to not even do it anymore, because, yeah, Return to was... Yeah. Once part 1 was done, basically when we got to part 2, I was ready, to go. But as you guys know, a lot of things happened. a ton of things happened. Tragedy hit, my toe, what else? Freaking hell, look. Devs galore. Like, it just, like, bam, 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 bam. Like, it was nonstop. It was like you were stuck in a corner in a boxing ring and someone just kept punching you in the face. And there was no, like, freedom from it whatsoever. So yeah, I had to recover from that while also trying to find the courage and even the want to continue it. And considering that Return 2 was a whatchamacallit, like a big story and a very dreadful one for that matter, it was hard. But eventually I found the ground to put my feet back on. Do I do FNAF lore? No. I tried to get into FNAF like long ago. I just couldn't. It wasn't really my thing. Like, it personally just wasn't my thing. I've played the game, and yeah, not really my thing. I prefer games that like build up the atmosphere and really like keep you encapsulated in the atmosphere. With FNAF, you really just kind of what's gonna happen after like the first couple of jump scares, because you know exactly when the monster is going to attack, if you're going to get killed or not. Like, if the door gets jammed, you're dead. And if Freddy shows up at the door, you're dead, unless you're really close to that 5 o'clock a.m. Mark. So yeah, FNAF just really wasn't ever my thing. I respect the lore. I respect the story. I respect what Scott did completely. Like, he made something special for sure. Just personally not my thing. But yeah. Return 2 was really the big, big, big thing that allowed me to really gain the confidence and really even what's the word? Like, just the confidence to even try something like this. Like, guys, I started drawing like a year ago. And yes, I've been working my ass off to get better and better and better, just trying to draw something every single day. But yeah, I feel like I was at a point where my drawing skills were good enough to actually, make something like this. And yes, I am getting my practice works with this. Lots of posing practice. Because there's a lot of poses and like angles for certain like certain things that really are specific. Like, there was this one where it's like a top down angle, like the camera is at the top of like the ceiling looking down at these characters from like a side angle. And I remember putting that together and being like, okay, how do I do this? How do I do that? Luckily, I had a friend in call with me at the time, because my friend Thomas, he is such a sweetheart. He is like my shoulder to cry on and everything for this kind of stuff. One of my best friends, and he's been in so many projects, guys, like way back. The very first thing he was ever in of mine, I think, was actually Bittersweet Up Lakers, if I'm not mistaken. He played Big Mac, like one line, but hey, it was a starting point. Like, I voice acted in things where I had one line, and I've voice acted in things where I've had like 50 lines. The biggest one that unfortunately never got released was, oh god, it was a Junji Ito comic dub, and the reason it never got released was because of copyright stuff happening at the time. Like, basically out of nowhere, the Junji Ito stuff was copywriting people like crazy, to the point of where it would take down their channels. So yeah, I understand why that never got released. But it was a Junji Ito comic. It was supposed to be a comic dub, and I played the main character. I remember what it was about. It was like about a house full of like puppets, like humans turned into puppet kind of characters. And I love Junji Ito, so yeah, it was definitely right up my alley. The only thing I remember is when I started recording for it, it was so fucking weird because I'd never done anything like this before. So trying to figure out the right emotions, trying to figure out how the characters portrayed and how they're, feeling in the moment was really difficult. Unfortunately, it just never got released because fucking copyright. But it happens, and as a voice actor or whatever, you need to be prepared for that. Like, I've done voices for a lot of things where it didn't get released in the end, but it happens. and I've learned to accept that. Like you can't get mad over something if it's possibly going to terminate a channel. So same thing with my channel. I have recorded for things, and unfortunately, like there was one. It was called "Here Comes the Raggedy" 1 and 2. I had a voice actor record for the entire thing. Like I had everything, but basically what ended up happening is the author ended up taking the story down, which is sad because it's actually a really good story. And it's really a shame, but I understand it happens. I hadn't recorded my narration yet. That's the problem. I think I did for Here Comes the Raggedy, but I do need a guide sometimes to figure out how things are going and stuff. Like I really need a guide in order to figure things out. So unfortunately, it just never got released and it will never get released. But it happens. Not everything you make is going to be posted. That's just something you got to be prepared for as a content creator. And the reason why I held off on doing so, like, here's the thing. I've been wanting to do comic stuff for a long time. Like, way back when. I don't remember the year specifically, but I remember I started watching a lot of comic dubs for, like, MLP. And I'm like, this looks kind of, fun. So I'm like, okay, let's see if maybe we can delve into this. But the thing is, you gotta play the YouTube game. And sometimes the YouTube game don't like when you do something new. So, yeah, I was terrified to even try something new. And I wanted to do something new, but yeah, I just never got the courage. I never wanted to take that chance. But now at nearly almost 10K subscribers, which is crazy to me, yeah, I basically said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to try what the I want to try because okay, guys, here's the truth. When I said in the video, I need to move on from Pony, I wasn't saying I was done with Pony. A lot of people misinterpreted that. I'm not saying I'm done with it. I'm saying simply I need to expand my horizons beyond it. Because Pony stuff is really getting old. It's getting boring. It's getting repetitive. It's just not what it used to be, guys. I'm just going to be dead honest. From my perspective, it's not what it used to be. Like back in 2016, 2015-ish, you would go to FinFiction and there would be horror stories galore. And some would be bad, some would be amazing. It would be, it was constant. It was a thing that just kept coming and coming and coming and coming. That's what she said. Shut up. Sorry. Yeah, my mind goes to the gutter, guys. So, but anyways, but you would go to FinFiction, go to the horror section, and there would be a shit ton of stories that are great. Like they'd be original, they'd be good ideas. And that's the kind of shit I aim for. I go after things that are original, not looked at like there's no like views on it whatsoever, and give that person a chance to be noticed for their creation, their creativity, and their ability. That was my purpose as a content creator. I wanted to give those authors a chance, just that one chance to just get some followers, to get some recognition. I wanted that. I wanted to see them thrive, because there are some stories that I have legit read that are fucking great. One that comes right to my mind immediately is A Process of Elimination. The Seven Saviors, or whatever his name was, that story had me hooked instantly when I started. Once I started reading it, not record reading it, just reading it before I recorded it. One of the best stories I've ever read, because it kept you constantly just guessing what is happening next. And while it's still not finished, and I'll be honest, guys, I don't know if I'm ever going to finish it because, time goes on and you need to follow. Just simply put. So basically, that is like one of the best stories, but time goes on. You get new interests. You get new things that you want to do. And for me, that was artwork. Like, I remember one night I was just sitting in a Discord call with well, an old friend now and my best friend, and we were talking about, because she was an artist, and she was drawing something. I don't remember exactly what she was drawing, but I'd been wanting to like try the anime style because I had like attempted Goku and all that stuff way back when, and I wasn't necessarily bad at it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna actually try this. And now that there's an artist here who can actually, show me like the ropes a little bit, I'm gonna try. Well, the problem between me and them was that they their way wasn't my way. My brain did not click with their way. Their way was very opposite of my brain. Like, one thing that she did that my brain just cannot comprehend, I've tried this several times, it never worked, is the shape method. Like, drawing a circle for the head, whatever for the torso, like, ovals for the legs and the arms. It never clicked. I could never make the connections and shit to make it look like, what it's supposed to look like. And I've seen so many YouTube shorts, so many videos that talk about that method. Personally, it's not me. I just couldn't do it. And the way they thought was basically, it's either this way or the highway, basically. So essentially, I had to find my own way. And how I started, I remember I looked up a video of how to just draw an anime girl, like a head, like to neck, like, what's the word? Example. And the way they did it was they drew like three lines just to start. One's like for, I think, like right here, like around the, up right above the nose, below the nose, and then the chin area. And it was a good starting point, and keep in mind, I started traditionally hand-drawn. And honestly, it didn't look that bad. But I look back at it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm bad. But again, stepping stone. And the problem with it was that, well, it was a constant thing that I did before I implied something later on, was that I drew her hair way too high off the top of her head. Like, we're talking 80s hair, basically, like way off the top of the head. And that was one of my weaknesses when I first started, one of my habits, and I still do it to this day. But luckily with digital art, you can just bring shit down and it's fixed. And it's a common mistake. You can really easily make that mistake. But anyway, but yeah, I started with that and just kind of slowly built from the ground up. Like, okay, yes, I've used AI, but don't leave. I used AI as a tool. That's the key. I used it as a tool. I didn't use it as like a thing to sell, monetize, anything. Like, I still use it. Like, sometimes I can't find like a specific pose or a specific like angle that I want. So what I'll do is I'll throw it into an AI generator just to get an idea. Like, one of the places I can never freaking remember sometimes is the underside of the armpit. Like, if the arm is up in the pose, there has to be something down there. It can't just like go like straight down. No, there has to be like something there. There's a divot basically for the pit area. And sometimes my brain can't remember that. And sometimes you can't find a good reference on, anywhere. So you just go to an AI generator and you just look it up for a reference. That's it. But how I learned how to draw the body personally was I would use an AI generator and I would just trace over the outside lines of the body. I would also, but everything else was me. I would draw the inside, I would draw the hair, I draw the eyes, I draw all that shit. That was me. That was the step point of just learning how to draw the body, how it's shaped, how the curves work, how all that works. Like another huge thing, because I mainly drew women, was the little divot part where the hips connect to the legs. I always drew them like curved, like really curved, like they don't got any rib cage, no guts whatsoever. And again, you spot these things later on and you learn how to fix them. And honestly, that's where I started, and that's how I just like slowly but surely learned how to spot my mistakes and picked it up. And then I more recently started like doing Red Hill Academy. I have learned how to do this system where I can draw things pretty accurately every single time. And that's the lovely things that are called guidelines. And yes, they are great. They are amazing. They are the cheat code. They are the thing that makes drawing so 10 times easier. And I stopped drawing. You can crucify me for this all you want. I don't give a shit. But I use the circle tool so that the circle for the head is a lot more accurate. And well, it does create problems, but again, like the head is way too wide and all that stuff. But later on, I fix it when I know how big the body is to the head, so I can properly make the size correct without having to enlarge the head later on. And yeah, it's just a matter of slowly but surely taking your time, trial and error, because it is very trial and error. And yeah, I love it. It's so much fun. But with Red Hill Academy, I've really had to pick up on how to draw things like from different angles, how to draw certain things that I've never even dared to draw. Like one involves a school bus, like the front of a school bus. I've never drawn a vehicle correctly in my fucking life. And the way I've learned how to basically pick up on how to draw something, like besides a human, is to look at it and look for shapes, because the human body is just composed of a lot of shapes. Like your head is basically a big oval, your chest is kind of a personally for me, it's I don't even know what the hell that shape would be. Like almost like a pentagon kind of sort of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So technically be 6 sides. I don't know. But anyways, but that's about the shape of your chest. Your arms are like an oval and like a little bit of a shorter oval. Like that's the shaping thing going into effect. But I personally don't use it like by drawing shapes as the base. That's what some people do. Personally, it's not me. But that's what I do when I draw things like backgrounds. I look for certain shapes. And for me, that bus was just a giant rectangle with like curved sides. And the innards, like the lights, the windshield, and all that stuff, was just a bunch of like other rectangles and other stuff. And then there was like a lot of the things that helped me big time with like learning how to like do things correctly was Inktober and Art Fight. Those were definitely humongous factors into me becoming a much better artist as I am now, especially Inktober, because Inktober really brought a bunch of challenges. But it taught me how to like do certain lighting effects that I normally couldn't, and how to do the what's it called, cell shading. Cell shading was a humongous step up for me because my shading now looks pretty damn good, even though it is still difficult. But it looks a lot more accurate to actually like everything. But one of the biggest things that's going to help Red Hill Academy the most is the fact that it's in black and white. So yeah, it's like a manga. It's actually more grayscale than black and white. I'll say that it's more grayscale because it does have different shades of like gray in it. So yeah, I would consider more grayscale than just straight up black and white. And I feel like that looks a lot more better. There are tidbits where there are some colors because, well, some scenes do need it. Like think of Sin City. Like that's the perfect way that I described it. Sin City has like those scenes where blood is the only thing you see in color. Uh, like there's certain things like magic, blood, because there's gonna be a lot of that shit. Um, like just kind of stuff like that to pick up on certain aspects. Like one of the hardest things to draw in black and white, honestly, are like, well, two things that I've come across: fire and blood. Like to make those look good in black and white is really flipping hard, and to make it look realistic is really difficult. Like I don't know how the mangakans do it. I don't know how they do it, but I just made it red, and for the blood anyway. Fire, it's just a bunch of layering. It's a bunch of layering, a lot of blending. I've slowly but surely learned how to pick up on it, but yeah, fire is not as prominent as blood, especially considering the later scenes that are going to come where there's a lot of blood. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Like it's a humongous experimental process, but it's a lot of fun. Though I do have to take breaks sometimes because there's some days where I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. And if there's one thing I can tell anyone is to listen to your body. Like if you don't want to draw a day, don't force yourself. Because if you don't want to do it, don't do it. It's like same thing with writing. If you don't want to write one day, then don't write that day because you don't want rushed writing. Rushed writing is not a good thing, guys. Never ends well. 1 sec, I need a drink. But basically all I do is just get in my chair that I'm sitting in right now, get my tablet, and just draw 1 page per day if I can. And 1 page per day ratio is really good. Sometimes I'll do 2 pages. Like there was 1 page that I did recently that really didn't take much effort because it was like just one big panel. That's all it was. The drawing took me like maybe an hour at most because I'm not doing the shading just yet. Shading will come later. But let me tell you what, chapter 2, it's going to be way longer than chapter 1. I'm already at the amount of pages that chapter 1 was, and I've still got 2 more key scenes to do. Technically, let's see, there's the meetup, and then there's the... Technically, that would kind of be like 3 scenes? 3 or 4? Something like that. As you can see, still a long way to go. So this is going to be a long chapter. I'm estimating it's probably going to be around possibly 50 pages, which is nuts to me because I've never even written a chapter that long. I think the longest chapter I've ever written, 32-ish pages or something like that. 20 at max. Hold on, guys. Okay, someone's got the phone. Okay. Sorry, my foot is itchy today. I don't know why. But yeah, Red Hill is definitely going to be something completely different. It's not going to be, what you guys are used to me doing. Like, even the story of it is going to be completely different. Like, it's more like a political kind of horror. And not in the way that you think. It's a lot more different. Like, I don't know how to explain to you guys. Like, it's not a fantasy kind of horror. It's more, not quoting the game, it's more of like a residential kind of evil, like kind of horror. Because the villain in this is very close to home. Like, it's something that is more like realistic. Like how RTBAA, the villains were more like interdimensional demons. Uh, this one is more closer to home and actually could be a realistic evil in reality. I'm not gonna lie, and that's basically that's basically the gist of it. It's a much more different kind of story than I've ever written before, because mostly I've done like kind of magical kind of world kind of shit, kind of non-realistic. This one's more realistic in my opinion, because I do think that there are actual evils out there like this, especially in the hidden, like in the shadows. But yeah, there's still a lot to be done. Like I already have ideas. Like at the moment, I feel like it's going to be at max maybe 2 seasons long. I don't know how many episodes per volume or whatever the hell it is for a manga. I don't I don't really know. It's but I have already I already know how season, like not season 1, but you know what I mean. Volume 1 is going to go. It's going to be probably a lot more on the gentle side. Well, I say season, but whatever. Volume 2 is going to be a lot more on the dark and gritty side. Like, it's going to be dark, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely going to be a lot more anime ish. But it will still have that flair that I usually put in my stories. Like, if you've been following my channel long enough, you guys probably know my habits, my, cliches, the stuff that I usually put in all my stories. Like, how a lot of my stories have like Saw themes in them, like Saw references, like with the twist at the end that you don't expect. There were some that were terrible. But yep, I just can't wait to show you guys this. I know it's not gonna be for everyone. I know that it's not gonna be everybody's cup of tea. But regardless, I really do appreciate everyone just being supportive about it, and not saying, bro, do pony, we don't want this shit. People like ignorant assholes like that. I haven't had anybody say that kind of shit to me. Like, I know it's not everyone's thing, but it's what I want to do, and that's basically the way I put it. Like, you can, like, I at least hope people give it a chance, because I'm not gonna go full anime esque kind of shit going on. Like, the style is very anime, but the story is a lot more my style. Like, it's it's not like your traditional anime story. It's definitely very Sparrow9642 y. Like, it's dark, it's gritty, it's miserable, it's yeah, it's very my style. It's definitely a grimdark. Like, it's definitely got that grimdark element in it. There's no doubt about that. Like, both volumes are going to have that. It's just volume 1 is going to have a lot more, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's just going to be a lot less on the grimdarky side. But volume 2, definitely going to have much more of a gritty and dark nature to it. So yeah, I mean, it's entirely up to you guys, but I really do hope that you guys do at least give it, a shot. And if you don't like it, at least just give me support, because I know it's not everyone's thing, but it's what I want to do as a content creator. Because I do want to push beyond the boundaries that I'm stuck on. Oh shit. Is there a way to mute your mic? Yes, there is. I'm gonna be right back. I gotta go do a dog. So give me about, I would say about maybe 10-15 minutes. So I'm gonna mute my mic and probably turn my camera off, just so nothing, like, I don't have anything to hide, but you just know how it goes in this world, guys. So BRB, 15 minutes. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. But that's my thing I have to do every day so I can avoid my mom killing her back. Sorry about that. But yeah, God damn it, my hands are still freaking wet. But yeah, I don't remember what I was talking about. I was talking about. I don't remember. It was something to do with Red Hill. I just can't remember what. I think I was just talking about how it was different. But yeah, Red Hill, it's definitely going to be different. It's not going to be like what you guys are used to. But I honestly do hope that you guys at least do give it a chance because I made sure not to make it, just straight anime style, just straight up like, an anime. No, I put my own flair into this, so you do know, it's me. Like, it's definitely still me, but it is going to be different. It's not going to be what you usually see from me. But anyway, other than that, just been really focusing on just getting that done. So that, like, I really wanted to get ahead of episode 2. Like, just wanted to get ahead of doing chapter 2 so that when the time does come, it doesn't take as long to put together. But because, yeah, chapter 2 is definitely way longer. Like, at the moment, we're at 22 pages, and we've still got a lot more scenes to go. I think this next one isn't going to be too much work. Like, the one I'm currently on, it's not necessarily too far from unfinished in terms of, like, the scene we're on. I would say we've got about maybe 5 more pages worth, but it all depends on how it plays out. But weirdly, one of the characters is kind of turning out to be a lot more main character-y than I intended. But hey, it happens. Nothing just goes to show you, nothing is set in stone. It's something until you really start putting it together. Like, I remember, like, there was something in our TBAA. Oh, Flare. Princess Flare. She became a lot more main character E too because, well, she kind of had her own demons. She was kind of the savior. Like, I'm not kidding you guys when I say that Princess Flare's whole arc, her story, like the whole ending to Return to Berry Swamp Lakers was, it went through so many different like ways it could have ended because there was a lot of ways that I wanted it to end. There was an ending where Flora died. There was an ending where I think what you got, Flare dies. Like, one of those two was going to die. Then there was Xena, who I originally wasn't going to have die, but it kind of fit the whole narrative when I got to the point of where Flare was, or not Flare, excuse me, Flora was trying to stop Applejack from stopping them, basically. I'm like, oh, this is a perfect spot to just put something that nobody's going to expect. Like, I do that just to piss you guys off because I know you guys love these characters, so I just do it to piss you off. But I don't do it out of malice. It's just something I like to do in my stories. Like, Xena was a great character. She turned out to be a lot more of a character than I thought she was going to be, honestly. But, yep. RTBAA was just something huge, and I never expected it to be as huge as it was, but it was. It was huge. I didn't expect it to be 3 parts long. I didn't expect it to go as deep and as dark as it did. Like, originally, RTBAA was just supposed to be one thing where the character basically, in my fashion, I end it on a complete cliffhanger and just tragic, with Flora just basically losing everything. But as per expected, the audience was like, we want more of this. So there you go. And I remember I got a comment on someone saying that part 2 didn't even need to be included. I'm like, yeah, it did. In a character-driven story, you want the characters to have backstory. You want them to have you want to flesh them out. You want to know their story and you want to connect to them more in order to understand them more on why they are the way they are in the story. Because when we first meet Flora in part one, we really don't know why she's in an asylum, and that's why she tells her story. Then in part two, you learn more on, why or how she actually ended up in the asylum, her past, and how her father was a absolute piece of shit, and how her friends were the thing that basically helped her to see past, that it wasn't her fault that, she killed him out of self-defense on that night when she was just a child. You see, you need to know these things because that builds more character development for these characters and allows you to connect to them a lot more better. And that's how I look at that kind of stuff, is that it fleshes out the characters way more. And in a character-driven story, you want that. That's a lot more of a thing that you want in a character like development-based story. And that's what RTBA is. It is based around the friendship of Flora and her friends and Sassy, Xena. Like, there's a shit ton of characters in the story. Way more characters than I thought there would be. But yeah, it wasn't. I didn't expect it to actually go as far as it did. I didn't expect Crimson to ever make a return. But he did. The character that basically started the whole ball rolling, that I made out of absolute boredom. And yeah. Yeah, it gave him an ending. It gave Flora an ending. It gave Sassy an ending. Like, it gave them all closure. Like, I have a friend who, said that to do like something maybe where you like go down Flora's like, like future path, like maybe flesh out her life after the massacre a little bit, like to see how the aftermath affected her. Kind of like Danny from The Shining to Doctor Sleep. Like, basically that kind of thing. And I'm not against it, honestly, because I love Flora as a character. She's a very tragic character, but she got closure, and who knows, maybe I might do that down the road. Like, look at how long it took me to make a 28 Pranks Later sequel. But I wanted to do it at the right time, and I'll be honest, I did it because I had nothing else in my mind. I had no other ideas. And it wasn't going to be RTBAA that year because, well, I didn't even have the want or need to do it. Like, at that point, I'd been shot down so much because of all of the deaths in my family at the time. So, yeah, RTBAA was just way too much work, so I wanted something a little bit more simpler. Though I did re-listen to that recently, the 28 Pranks Later, 28 Years Later, and honestly, I don't consider it bad. Honestly, like, I'm not afraid to call my shit bad if it's bad. I am not afraid. Like, The Survey, that shit was bad. That was bad. Like, I just look at that shit and cringe. But it's a stepping stone, right? But yeah, 20 Pranks Later, 28 Years Later was actually not that bad, in my opinion. It was definitely one of my, it wasn't as, much as, what I can usually do kind of thing, but it's because I was kind of in a time crunch. So I just kind of came up with something that fit the bill enough. And honestly, it fits very well. And I don't know how many years passed between, oh God, Twilight's Transmissions, I think was the last one. That was in, oh God, 20, I want to say 19 or 18. So yeah, that was a lot of years that had passed. But I won't call it bad because it isn't bad. And I'm not saying that as an egotist. I'm just saying it's not a bad story. It's a very tragic one with an ending that really kind of just makes you think a little bit. But then there's the aspect of, if you let something go a little too long, things start to get kind of, you start to get plot holes. You kind of start to, what's the word? Like, you start writing things that you don't realize are going to conflict with like the stories that were written in the past. Hence, like the Jason and Freddy like movies and shit like that, where there was convoluted like timelines and shit. Yeah, that's the thing that I want to avoid. And trust me, guys, everything that I make for you guys is absolutely thought through. It's never half-assed. It's always thought through. I always make sure my bet. I always do my best to not make sure that I'm like leaving any plot holes or creating plot holes that contemplate with things in the originals. Like if I'm writing a sequel, Return to Bittersweet Apple Acres was a perfect example of that. I had to go through everything to make sure I was not conflicting anything with the original or any of the like the first or the second ones with like the finale. Like it wasn't easy. I had to actually go back and listen to not just the original Bears Apple Acres, but all of the Return to parts that were up to that point because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't contemplating anything. Because after you put a story on the back burner for so long, you tend to forget things. And yeah, happened quite a few times for TBAA. Like I forgot some of the characters' names. I forgot like some of the things that happened in the original. But one of the deaths that sits with me still to this day, God, making the sound effect for it alone, was Sarah's death, which her head basically gets crushed. Blah. And the sound effects that I put in there, I don't know how I got that so close to realistic, but I did. Because every time I hear it, I'm like, oh my God. Like, it sounds realistic, but hey, if it actually hits even the person who made it, yeah, it's good. But yeah, after our TBAA was over, I already like the thing that I was thinking the entire time that I was making the finale was, where am I going after this? Like, what's the thing that's gonna follow this? And immediately I knew it had to be Red Hill because, you know, as I said before, I felt like my drawing, skills had gotten to a point of where I could do it. Even though, I'm only a 1 year old artist, I do feel that, I'm doing a great job with it. Like, is every piece perfect? Absolutely fucking not. Like there's some of the One Pieces where I look at them and I'm like, oh Lord, what was I thinking? Like for some reason, there was 1 or 2 pages where I was struggling with drawing the front of the girls at a side angle. Excuse me. And well, it just kind of looks a little weird, but trust me, guys, I got better. I got way better. Like I challenged myself with a lot of these characters. Like one of the characters, who is an OC of mine and is a succubus. Her whole thing is that she does not like to follow the whole thing that a succubus usually has, which is just flaunting and selling themselves. No, she's the entire total like polar opposite. She is like her design follows the what doesn't attract like quote. Like I gave her a lot of things that don't count as drop dead gorgeous like esque things like small chest, freckles, glasses. Like I'm not saying that those things in reality are bad, like ugly. Guys, hello. I wear glasses, so I don't consider myself ugly or anything like that. But I'm saying in this universe, it's something that's like a huge no-no for what she is. Like I'm not putting that into perspective in reality. I'm putting it into perspective in this universe. So things like small chest, freckles, glasses. What's the other one? I know there's one more thing. I just can't think of it. But that's like 3 of the main ones. Like small chest, hell no, you don't want that. Freckles, ew, no. Glasses, you look like a freaking nerd. Like I said, this is not pertaining to reality. It's pertaining to the universe that it takes place in. Hello, August. SHL, or is that a 1? Hello, I'm just going to call you August so I don't offend anybody. But that's what I mean. In this universe, when you have, you know, a code, like, basically it's a very, like, if you want to put it into retrospective reality, communism. Because the way of a demon's life is set in stone. You follow one line. You don't really derive from that. And if you derive from it, you're a disgrace, basically. And, well, if you want the truth, when a demoness is born, they're destined to become you know, a lady of the night, basically. That's exactly what they are designed to become, and will follow the rules of, will follow the code. They will not derive from it. And that is not this character's way of doing things. She wants to be independent, and she wants to break the code, basically. But I didn't make her, butt ugly or anything. I made her cute. I would say I made her cute. Like, she's not drop dead gorgeous. She's just cute. And that's the best way that I could have made her. There's also a lot of keys to her design, like, that tell that she's like a recluse and one that doesn't really like to expose herself. Like long tube socks that cover her, her legs. She tucks her tails so that ain't showing and just like flowing around freely. She has her hair like grown out all the way down to past her butt so that no skin is shown. What's other things? Oh, she wears longer shirts so that if she like raises her arms, no, like none of her like belly button or anything gets showed. I'd have to really look at her design. Where are you? Where's my Google Drive? Ugh. I'm not trying to. I'm not spoiling anything, guys. Don't worry about that. Where's the one where she shows up? There she is. Yeah, longer shirt. She tucks her tail. She wears longer socks. Her hair's grown like down to past her butt so that none of her back end is showing or anything like that. And I also gave her the Twilight-esque bangs, like the like rectangular ones with like the little triangle cut in the middle, to kind of sell that she's, not, you know, like another certain trio of characters in the story that are just there to make your life miserable and for them to flaunt their shit. No, this character is more so like focusing on her actual education and trying to be different. Like, she's trying to break from the crowd. She's basically a black sheep. And yeah, like she's the other main character-esque like kind of character that I was talking about. And yeah, I have a feeling a lot of people are gonna like relate to her because there's a lot of people that can cheer and like say, hey, go girl, you go. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a story that's going to take time. Like, I don't think I could finish it this year. There's no fucking way. Like, it all depends. Honestly, it just depends on how long the chapters are. Like, chapter 2 is fucking hella long because, Jesus, it like builds the groundwork for basically the entire story's plot and where we're going from there. So, I don't know. If I had to take a wild guess of when this would be fully complete, like as just volume 1, it's easily going to probably take a year. It all depends on things like, maybe if there's a delay or anything like that. Like, I'm trying to keep it 1 page per day, but right now I'm on a little bit of a break because I want to just not get what's the word, worn out, basically burned out. And I think that's the best thing for me right now. But we're to a point in the story where we're just learning more about the characters, and that's basically what these first few episodes are supposed to imply. But this episode also does kind of bring the story's main plot into the light, because it's definitely not a, what's the word, light story. And if you know if it's made by me, it's not a light story. Definitely not. I'm I am a straight person. I'm a person who loves to just do dark stories where it's just tragic. But yeah, guys, I'm just doing my best to make this the best that it can possibly be. And it's my first try with something like this, so there's probably going to be little things that are not going to be, the best, but I'm trying my hardest. Like, I'm putting as much effort into this, and like as much effort and focus into this as I did with RTBAA, because RTBAA was easily my biggest production, my biggest project that took forever because of what fucking happened. But yeah, I am so looking forward to whenever this comes out, because like I said, I'm assuming because my editor is just swamped with like Valentine's Day stuff, I feel it's probably either going to be late this month or maybe early to mid March. It all depends. Like, I know I posted the thing and it says, February, but things happen. Like, shit happens in real life, guys. It's just reality. But that's basically where I am right now with YouTube content. Just kind of taking my time and trying to figure things out so that this project looks really good, and it not only looks good, it sounds good. Because yeah, we still got to put all of the pieces together. Like, the visuals are all done. It's just the audio now. And my editor just needs to put all the shit together, because he can add like, transitional effects and stuff like that that my computer can't handle, stuff like that. And then I add in all the sound effects and stuff that's gonna make it come to life. And yep, then she'll actually be complete. I might have to get my friend's help with that, because he's got a freaking beast of a PC. But yeah, there is no telling when this is actually going to come out, because anything can happen at any time. But I'm trying my best to make it as friendly for everyone as I possibly can. I mean, it's definitely got that flair that all my projects have, like the horror, the dread. It definitely has all of that. But it's like, episode 1 is not gonna be straight that. It's gonna be more of an introductory kind of thing. But I won't spoil. I'll let you guys decide what you want to do. If you want to watch it, if you don't, that's completely up to you. But I still do appreciate everybody for being, supportive about it, and not, being like, like saying basically, you, dude, don't do that. Do your pony stuff. That stuff is the stuff that really works. Like, this is stupid. I'm so glad there's not people like that. I haven't come across anybody like that has been like, ew, dude, this is not the thing. Well, one person. Maybe one person when I first started writing it. Because I started writing for Red Hill, like actually just writing it as a story, because the idea came to me right off the top of my head. God, it was in the middle of production of, I think, Return to Bear Apple Acres Part 2. I don't remember the exact date, but it was like right in the middle of doing production for RTBA 2. So that's how long ago this goes. I just kind of stopped writing it for a while because I didn't really feel confident about it. But then I said, fuck it. I'm going to do it. Because it was sitting in my mind, like in the back area of my mind. And I was like, you know what? This looks good. So I'm going to fucking do it. I'm going to make it work. That's how I've always been. So I'm going to make this freaking work and not give a shit about what everybody else says. Like, you guys have seen it. I've been trying different things. Like, uh, one project I'm still proud of, no matter what, is the Bonding of Ice and Lightning, which was kind of a filler thing for when I couldn't do RTBA. But it was also different. It was Genshin Impact based, and it was based off of one of my favorite ships in the entirety of the game, which is Gonching. And I loved it. It was so much fun to make, so much fun to try different things, just do something different, and to get to make a story that wasn't immediate with the romance, because if you don't know Genshin Impact well, Kuching and Ganyu are literally two like polar opposites. Like, one is this and the other is like that. Like, they are complete polar opposites. So in my brain, I'm like, how in the flip am I gonna make these two work? I remember that. I was like, how in the hell am I gonna make this work? And basically I had to put them in a situation where they had to rely on one another. And that's basically how I ended up making it work. But yeah, that was the probably the hardest part, was just the romance. But I didn't immediately like, send it like in like what I did with Confessions of an Alicorn Princess. I let the romance build. Like, there's aspects of war, tragedy, trauma, PTSD, stuff like that. And basically it's like a friend helping another friend to overcome their demons and helping themselves in like a dark time where they need each other. And eventually the relationship builds to a point where they actually start to feel something for another. And that's how romance should work. It should be a slow build, not an immediate like, let's get together kind of thing. And that's how I had to treat these two. Was I had to treat them as two complete like different people that found like something within each other that they could relate to, and so they connected. And yeah, I'm still proud of it. I love that story. I know it's not the most like viewed thing on my channel, and I understand why it's not, but I love it. It was so much fun to make. And I made that one within a pretty decent time frame. I think it only took me about, well, there was a lot of parts to it. I want to say it took 5 or so months to make, because it's just a humongous story. It's like 32 chapters long. Let's see. I gotta go. I gotta go way, way, way back. Yeah, that was already 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's freaking nuts to me. Okay, the bonding. If I can spell. Okay. Yeah, it's yeah, 10 parts long. 10 parts long. And if you want to see it, it's on a playlist on my channel. It's called The Bonding of Ice and Lightning. And it's completely done now, but yeah, it's definitely not one of my more viewed things. Like, the first part has about 800 views, which is pretty decent for something new. But this is what I mean about something new. When you try something new, the YouTube algorithm don't like that. Like, if you're good at one thing, then YouTube says, okay, if you're good at this thing, then you should just do that one thing. And it works until you get burned out on it. And that's why I was so afraid to even try for something like Red Hill or The Bonding of Ice and Lightning, or uh fuck, what was the Zilla and Bronya one? As fate would have it, that's it. That one was just kind of a test story, because even though it was fucking hard trying to get those two to connect. Um, but yeah, I still love The Bonding of Ice and Lightning. It was a lot of fun to make. Oh yeah, I remember what I was looking for now. When was this? February? Fucking hell! Wait, That was almost a year ago, or not a year ago, 2 years, 3, 4, 5, almost 3 years ago already. Holy fuck! Wow. Okay, that just blew me for a loop. Wow. That just completely caught me off guard. And the last part was finished when? Technically long before that. It took, because I had that fucking copyright claim, which was absolute dog shit. So it was probably finished in June. February, March, 4 months. So it was done in 4 months. Wow. Even I'm shocked at that. Especially considering it's 10 parts long. But yeah, it was a lot of work, but one of my favorite like productions I've ever done, because it involves two of my favorite characters, really tests my voice acting ability. I mean, yeah, I had to voice everything because there was just way too many characters in this, and I really don't know many characters like too many voice actors outside of like, the pony stuff. That's why I really just kind of did it to gain experience and just kind of try something new. And yeah, you can tell that I was new to it because the voice that I did for Ganyu at the beginning is completely different from, the ones later on. And that's because I was just trying to find the voice. You can also tell there's points where I kind of fell out of some voices, but that happens. Like, I remember the Ganyu voice was like very Fluttershy-esque. It was very like this because she's a very soft-spoken character. And Kuching was much more nasally, kind of like Twilight. She was kind of more like this, kind of up in the nasal cavity, kind of snarly a little bit. No, God, Barbara's voice. Oh, I remember doing that, and I'm like, oh my God, I had to reach down, way down to get that one. But yeah, it was hard because, well, Barbara's a very, sporadic character, very happy character, so it was very hard to get that. It's kind of like doing a Pinky voice, but a lot more toned down. The Luke was it was kind of like this, just kind of down and kind of little authoritative, kind of boring. Kai was whatever. Jing was kind of like this, kind of authoritative, kind of deep, but not too bad. Nahida, I remember, yeah, because she does play a part in this. It was kind of like this, kind of down here. It's kind of like a mix of Kuching and Twilight's voice, kind of soft-spoken, kind of nasally, kind of childish. Like, I really had to explore my voice with this one. And, of course, the villain voice. Yes, that's down here in this kind of tone. And kind of with a little bit of like an accent to it. Because it's fun to do deep voices and kind of add a little flair to them. I love doing villains, if you can't tell. Like, villains are definitely my favorite thing. But yeah, it was definitely a lot of experience, a lot of fun. Coming up at the story and just trying to build on it and trying to make it make sense was very, very difficult, because there was a point in the story where I remember I had to figure out who the villain actually was. And considering what was going on in the actual game at a point, I figured it out pretty fast, because yeah, this character is just straight up sinister. Whoops. Oh, the Saritsa. I remember that voice. I remember trying to come up with the Saritsa's voice. Oh my God. She's very similar to kind of Jean, but a little bit more nasally, I think. Kind of slightly like unhinged a little bit too. Like, she sounds nice, but there's an undertone of like, oh, I want to kill you so bad. Because she is a villain in this. Well, she's a villain in the main game too, so. But it followed one of my theories about the Saritsa in Genshin Impact. I think that she's more of a puppet. I don't feel like she's actually the villain. I feel like she's being played for a fool, basically. I don't think that's the case now because of where we currently are in the game. I kind of stopped playing Genshin like way long ago, but yeah, I still enjoy the game for what it is. Ganyu's still my favorite character. But, yeah. Columbina's Columbina's voice before she was even revealed as a character. Oh my god. Now that she actually has a voice, it's kind of funny because I triggered Columbina having a voice like very, very like if you've ever played Honkai Star Rail and you know who the character Sparkle is, think of that. That's how I imagined Columbina's voice to be when she was revealed in the trailer, because she kind of looked like she was like her eyes were closed, but when she acted, she was just straight up sinister. No, I got that completely backwards. That was actually the other girl. I can't remember her name. The marionette girl. I can't remember her name. But yeah, Columbina was a lot of fun to voice before she was revealed as, a character in the game. I remember her voice was very like, sinister and playful like this. Having a lot of fun and just, just that. I just remember, oh my god, the recording for the finale of that was so much emotion. There was a lot of emotional shit going on. A lot of emotion, a lot of tragedy. Holy crap. Another reading that I can really see as that was the Reborn Redux. Holy crap, the ending. Especially when Scootaloo finds out the truth about Rainbow Dash. Yeah. Dash in that scene, holy crap. There was no thought. I just got up to the mic and went for it. And yeah, it sells. 100%. Like, I say that I'm not good at emotional voice acting, but then I listen to that kind of stuff and I'm like, if I just lock in and really just go for it, I can do it. Like, it's hard to fake cry really hard, but I don't know. Sometimes I can just nail it right on the dot. Another one that I can think of where there was a lot of emotional voice acting, especially later on, was the Sunset and Twilight one. Savior. Again, another one of my favorite productions because I'd always wanted to do a side-twi and a Sunset kind of thing. Except not connected to EQG at all. Like, the story is literally it kind of is Twilight, like, shiny vampires Twilight-esque, but it's not at the same time. Like, in this story, we don't have sparkly vampires and mediocre acting. No, it's a story literally about Sunset as a vampire trying to keep Twilight safe from an ancient evil that could appear at any moment. That is literally what Savior is about. I mean, it makes sense, the title. But the ending part with the final battle and all that stuff, oh my god, oh wow. A lot of emotion, a lot of shouting. I remember very, very much so. There was a lot of shouting. But it wasn't that bad. And again, Moleskin was just kind of the, this kind of voice, just very sinister, down here, just very sinister, gravelly. Sunset, her voice was different. I don't really use this voice that much. I just kind of remember it's very close to my voice, but it's very gravelly. Like, it has kind of a rasp to it. It's kind of deep and has like a rasp. Let me see if I can actually nail that. I think it was something kind of like this, kind of in this tone. It's really hard to control. And then, of course, Twilight. Twilight's just kind of up in the nasal cavity, just kind of like this, kind of snarly. But, yeah, in this story, Twilight just plays like a bitchy, like, introvert, basically. She's more of, like, she's not Twilight from EQG or Equestria at all. She is literally a bitch. She's constantly like she's just constantly, angry. And for good reason, excuse me. But yeah, and then there's Sunset, who's just kind of what's the word? Naive, I guess. She's kind of naive. She doesn't really treat Twilight as a person at first, but she eventually gets to that point where she's like, okay, I can't be a bitch. I have to be, I have to treat her like, an actual, person. Because the two, that's mainly why Twilight is so bitchy to Sunset, because she's a bitch too. And that's mainly how I wrote them, was Sunset doesn't really know, what humans are like, so she's completely clueless. And Twilight's just like kidnapped, essentially. She's basically kidnapped. So, of course, she's a little angry and a little, like confused. But eventually the two do build. Like I said, the romance builds because these two are like two totally different pieces of a pie. And yeah, worked out very, very well. What the hell is that? Oh. It worked out very well, and I think it's actually one of my better stories. I wanted to write more to it, but I don't know. I just couldn't ever find the right idea, the right way to keep it going. I just couldn't do it. And like there was an idea that I had where where eventually the Royals did respond to Moleskin's death, and it basically put Twilight and Sunset into a situation where Twilight was like, because she technically is the one who kills Moleskin in the first one. So Twilight basically becomes a target that needs to be eliminated by the Royals because of their laws. And yeah, basically Sunset turns into savior mode again and has to protect Twilight from the Royals again. That was the idea that I had. I just couldn't connect it correctly. And honestly, I think leaving Savior the way it is fine. Not every story has to have a sequel or, continuation, and that's something like a story series that I had, or I should say have, is the Survey series. And okay, this story series, it's more of like an anthology in my opinion. Like, it has a storyline, it has a timeline, but it is legit all over the place. Like, you have the Survey, which is basically the introduction to the entirety of like what's going on. Then you have the Box, which is where it gets a little bit more, I guess, psychological and kind of reveals another part of like the story itself and what the villain's capable of, and it kind of gives a little hint as to who the actual villain is. And then we get to what came after that? It was Welcome to the Family, wasn't it? I want to say it was Welcome to the Family. It's been a long time. Yeah, I think it was Welcome to the Family. Welcome to the Family was, again, kind of another telling of the perspective of the villain itself and what it's capable of. Oh, hey, Quentin, I got to see you. But yeah, then we got to the full backstory of the villain, which is creation. And this villain's completely different because it's like cybernetic. It's like more like a virus. It's not really a human organism. It's a thing that was created by a mad scientist. And yeah, basically after that, I'm like, where can I take this? And maybe, I don't know. That's a series that I don't know if I can continue. Like, do I want to continue it? Yes. And I don't know, maybe with like, how technology has evolved, there's maybe some room for it, but I don't know. I mean, how long has it been since Creation was released? It was, I think, 2019 or something like that. So it's been almost 7 years now. That is crazy. So almost 7 years. So to go back to something like that, now is kind of strange in my eyes. But then again, I did go back to RTBAA because there's a weird story with Return to Bear Swap Lakers. When I first started Return to Bear Swap Lakers, it wasn't when I started writing it for what it came out to be. No, it was not long after Return to Bear, the original Bear Swap Lakers, which was 2016 ish, I think. And the original Return to was, or the newer and like completed version of RTBAA was 2020. Was it 2023? I think so. I guess I'll double check that. Return to. Let's just go with that. All parts, full story. Okay, when were you released? 2022. Okay, yeah, I was correct. So 2016 was when Return 2 started, technically. But 2022 is when it became a thing again. Because in the back of my mind, I had this idea for a long time. But a lot of things happened. And no, they weren't personal things. They were just bad things. Basically, it was the whole Dusky novel situation that happened. But we're not going to talk about that. That was a time. But essentially, the original idea for Return 2 was the same exact kind of thing, except with OCs. Which technically, they are OCs in the story, but it was OCs of people that I knew at the time. And I don't remember who they all were. Inky was in there, I think. Dip Faces was in there. After that, I'm completely lost. But essentially, it was the same exact idea, but with different OCs. But it was so much worse. Like, I'm not kidding you guys. It was bad. Very bad. And I'm glad I waited on it because I thought back to it. Like, the idea had been sitting in the back of my mind for years, 6 years. And I was like, maybe I can rehash this into something better. So I immediately just kind of started writing and came up with Flora, Henry, Sarah, Trevor. And these are a lot better characters that are much more relatable. Like, I'm not going to lie, a lot of it is inspired in this because they're kind of like a loser's gang in a way. Especially in the second one, if you want to even delve into that. But yeah, they're like a little loser's gang, basically. And the story just got a lot more better because I could hash out the characters in my own way, like with their own lore, their own stories. With the other characters that I was going to write with it, yeah, it just wasn't good. Their lore sucked, and it just wasn't good. It didn't play into the story at all. So I'm glad I waited and rehashed it as something completely different. It's like the same thing. It's like the same thing with Reborn. Reborn, I've listened to the original after a long time. It's not bad. It's just the production value is bad. Like, the sound effects and stuff aren't that bad, but the voice acting, fuck me in an ass, no. And not to mention, some of the stuff in the original script was just rushed as fuck and bad in general. So, yeah, I basically took Reborn and fixed a lot of the issues, completely rewrote it into something way more better, and made it a much, much better story. And yeah, the effort is shown. It's there. Rainbow Dash makes a lot more sense in this one. It actually gives her a lot more better of a character. Scootaloo makes a lot more sense. The whole factory thing makes a lot more sense. The villain makes a lot more sense with it being Dr. Atmosphere, because I'm not going to lie, the first time I ever listened to Rainbow Factory, and I even came across Dr. Atmosphere's character, I was like, yeah, he's a villain for sure. His voice alone. But I always imagined him, not Rainbow Factory Dash, as the actual villain because he just screams at guys. Like, Rainbow Factory Dash just kind of seems like a brainwashed Rainbow Dash to me. It doesn't really seem like, the actual Rainbow Dash. Or like Rainbow Dash would just do. Again, one of my biggest nitpicks with Rainbow Factory is Rainbow Dash's motive. Because the motive in the original is that Dash basically couldn't afford her house, so she kills ponies for the sake of keeping her living place. That is the most bullshit motive I've ever heard. And a lot of those stories back in those days are terribly written. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, some of the big ones, the cupcakes. Pinky's motive makes zero fucking sense. I get it. She's chaotic in nature. But would Pinky really do something like that? Oh, I've just pulled your number, so here you go. You're gonna die now. No. That's not how that works. And I get it. It's fan fiction, but if you're going to write around a character like that, you need to have like actual good reason for them to do what they're doing. That's the thing with a villain. You need good motive for a character, for a villain to be a good fucking villain. Rainbow Dashes in Rainbow Factory made zero sense to me. I'm like, that is the most bullshit motive if I've ever heard it. So I gave her an actual motive that made sense. She was brainwashed. Not just brainwashed, but slightly killed in a way. Like, the real her was killed off, but the evil version that the medication created and basically formed into a new Rainbow Dash was what was controlling her and made her into Rainbow Factory Dash. And Dr. Atmosphere as the villain makes complete sense. He's a mad scientist. He has everything that screams, I created this madhouse. I created this idea. I'm the one who made the thought of turning like colors of ponies into spectra and then turning it into a rainbow by horribly killing them. Yeah, that screams Dr. Atmosphere to me, not Rainbow Dash. Like, not to mention, oh my god, Rainbow Dash's character, like the writing in Rainbow Factory is so bad. It's overly, what's the word? The profanity is so over the top. Like, the F-bombs and all that stuff are way over the top. Like, I get it. Aurora was probably like, what? 13, 14 when she wrote that? So, I get it. You're trying to be an edgelord. I'm guilty of it, too. I'm absolutely guilty of it. Like, there's a lot of stories that I wrote where the F-bomb was not necessary, or I used it a little too much. And, yeah, it happens. Bad writing. It's a stepping stone. Like, the concept of Rainbow Factory was really cool to me, but Dash's character, her whole motive, her reason just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, okay, let's rewrite Reborn, but actually make it make fucking sense this time. And I did. I gave Rainbow Dash an actual reason for why she was turned into a mad, careless piece of shit. And, made actually, like, someone who actually seems like a real villain, Dr. Atmosphere, an actual villain. I mean, he's a doctor. What do doctors have? What do doctors have access to? Medications. What can medications do to you? They can make you have a second personality or worse. They can give you multiple personalities. And that's basically how I treated it. Whatever process Dash went through with Dr. Atmosphere, basically Atmosphere killed off the original Rainbow Dash. Yes, this goes into a little bit of bullshit like territory, but it's fan fiction. So she goes through a process of where she's killed, but then the revived version of her that the medication created before she died becomes her new self. And the only time that Dash that was supposedly killed shows back through is at the time when, well, Scootaloo goes berserk on her and nearly kills her off. Well, she kind of kills her off, but not in the way that is like sinister or anything like that. But yeah, that was my thoughts with Reborn, was just trying to fix what was wrong and trying to make things make sense. And I'm thinking about doing that with a lot more of my like pony stuff, because I loved how the new version of Reborn came out. Like, it was so well done. And there's a lot of stories that I've written there where I could honestly do the same thing, but the only factor is time, energy, and just all around trying to figure out how to turn it into something better. Like, one that I would really like to rehash as something better is 28 Pranks Later: The Aftermath. That original version is so bad. Like I said before with like Reborn, the concept, it's good. The execution, bad. Like, I could turn that easily into something that's more 2 hours instead of 20 minutes. Easily, I could turn it into something like that. Because with the joke cookie epidemic, it has so much room for like being hashed out and spread into something bigger. And maybe I might do it. I don't know. It just all depends, honestly. But I would rather get this Red Hill Academy done first. And yeah, that's probably going to take quite a while. I'm not going to lie. Who knows? Maybe it might be, October's thing. Because, like I said before, guys, a lot of people misinterpret what I said in that video. When I said I need to move on from pony, I'm not saying that I'm quitting pony shit. I'm saying I simply need to broaden my horizons. I need to try different things. I need to make something new my main thing. And considering I'm more interested in, anime-esque stuff and just have found new interests, I feel like that's the better thing, because it allows me to come up with new ideas and to expand the channel and all that stuff. But I never once said in the video, I'm done with pony. And a lot of people took that wrong. I'm saying basically, pony stuff, not as frequent, but maybe it'll come around, for like, October specials or something like that, because I know October specials you guys love. And, I do enjoy making, darker pony stories. And who knows, maybe the 28 Pranks Later thing might be a thing this year. Who knows? Maybe that's where that's going to come out and be something a little better this time. Like, I really like the idea of rehashing something into something much, much better. And, a lot, that's Hollywood's whole-esque right now, but they do it terribly. And yeah, I just feel like I feel like that's a really good idea, honestly. Like, actually, that might actually be what I do for October this year, but I don't know, guys. It just all depends, I guess. So, I don't know. I don't know. It all depends. But for now, what I'm focusing on is Red Hill Academy and just trying to get it put together for you guys. And I really am going to bring it the best effort that I can, make it the best that I possibly can, and just hopefully give these guys something that you can, be happy with. Because, yeah, I've been wanting to do comic/manga stuff for quite a while. Like, I never imagined myself doing something like manga, ever. But, hey, there's always a first time for everything, right? So, yep. I wanted to include, like, kind of like what I did with Reborn, put, like, my own, like, music and stuff into it, but I don't know. I just don't feel confident in that. I just don't feel confident in putting that kind of stuff into Red Hill Academy. Mainly because, well, I mean, I don't know, guys. Maybe in the future. I don't know. But I don't think I'm that talented enough to put my own like music into something as big as Red Hill Academy. Like Reborn, I could do it because I only did for like certain scenes. Was it all the finale? I think it was all the finale. Yeah, it was all in the finale because it all went around like one theme, like the one where Scootaloo goes berserk on Rainbow Dash was straightforward, like just have tribal drums in the background and just those choir voices just yelling down at them, like just, and then just have those blurring sirens to it just to kind of give it that cinematic feel. And then the one before it, Absentia's Goodbye, just make it sad, very like, but add like a sense of hope in there because well, Absentia might be dying, but she's also escaping the hell she's stuck in, pretty much. And that was the whole thing. Like it starts out sad, but then it gets to the part where the choir comes in, and then that's. And another thing is I had to follow the story itself. I had to follow every along with the story line to match the music as well. And that was honestly really interesting because I really did enjoy it. Like, did I compose it, on a actual instrument? No. Absolutely not. I am not that talented. I just created it through FL Studio. But again, I don't think that's bad. It's not like making AI music. It's more like making a MIDI, if anything. But it was that one, Absentia's Goodbye, Clash of Fate or something like that. I don't remember. That's one where Rainbow Dash goes, where basically Scootaloo goes berserk on Rainbow Dash and kills her in the process. And then there's the third one, which is the Spectrum, something to do with the Spectrum's End or something like that, which is where Rainbow Dash reveals the truth to Scootaloo. That was really tricky to compose because there's a lot of different emotions in that scene. There's happiness, there's sadness, there's just tragedy. Yeah, wasn't easy at all. And then I think the last one was, oh yeah, it's the very last one. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically the part where Scootaloo realizes, she's done her mission. She can't leave the factory. She basically needs to toss the information over and hope to God that the one she's with, I can't remember her name, carries on what she worked so hard to complete or accomplish. And that's really where you leave, and that's really where it's left. Like with a question of, will this worker who's been stuck in here actually have the guts to go to the princesses and deliver the truth? Or will they become the next Overmare? And those are the kind of endings that I like. I like when they leave, when you're left with like questions in your mind. And I know not everybody likes that because people like more to just have a clear ending because people just don't have an imagination anymore nowadays. But yeah, composing music for that was very much easier because it follows like a timeline and it's a lot more easier to follow. When with visual storytelling, it's a lot more tricky because you have to basically come up with these like different types of like pacing with the music and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I am definitely not like experienced enough of creating music to know how to make it effectively. That's what I'm saying. Like I wrote something as like like an intro like track to it, but I can't play the drums and I don't know how to track drums. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. Maybe it might be a thing. I don't know. It all depends. And again, there it is. It all depends. Like I don't know, guys. I just have to have the confidence. I have to feel like it sounds good and looks good in order to really go through with it. And that's just the basic idea. So yeah, I really don't know what to tell you except just be patient and hopefully just expect something amazing, hopefully very soon. Like I said, probably later this month or maybe early or mid March. It all just depends on my editor, honestly. Because I don't know how long it's going to take them to put 22 pages together. And for me, well, I'll probably be able to get like the sound effects shit done pretty fast. Like I'll probably be able to get the sound effects and all that stuff done pretty damn quickly. Because it's just sound effects and music. I've done this a gazillion times over, so I mean I've done bigger files in one day. Like the biggest project that I ever, well, okay, not the biggest project, but one of the most hard projects besides our TBAA in terms of mixing and just mastering was freaking Day Zero. A story written by Ponyville Ranger, actually. This one was the beast in terms of sound effects and all that stuff. The tracks that were on this thing were freaking crazy. The volume control was crazy. And I don't know how my PC handled it. I legit do not know how my PC was able to handle it, but there was so much to that reading because it's okay. That's weird. My stream just died for a minute, but that's okay. But anyways, but yeah, the story is based around Fallout Equestria. I think it has to do with before the actual like events of Fallout Equestria. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it, but this story really caught my attention. So, but holy crap, did I not know what I was getting myself into? Because there was so many sound effects, so many music tracks, all going at once. So trying to mix this and everything was tricky as shit. So when I got a comment of someone saying something like, "This is Orson Welles quality," that was a huge compliment because Orson Welles is like one of the big names when it comes to audio plays, and the amount of work that I put into that, and just seeing like a comment like that. That is enough right there to keep me going. Like, that's the stuff that I like. I like when I know my viewers like what I'm doing and can see the amount of effort that I put into it. And I appreciate every comment. Well, almost every comment, minus the ones where people are just being assholes. But I appreciate the majority of the comments because I do appreciate when people, like if it's just like good job or, you did great. I know that's just people being supportive, and it may not be their thing, but maybe it wasn't like their cup of tea, maybe not their kind of genre, like their kind of thing, but they still support you or support me, and that's what I like. I like to just see the feedback. I like to see that people like my shit, and it basically tells me, hey, you're doing a good job. Let's keep going. Sorry about my chair. It's a noisy shit when it wants to be. And that's really the thing about comments like that. Like, that was a humongous compliment. Because, well, I've never personally ever listened to an Orson Welles thing. Yeah, getting compared to one of the biggest names in audio play, like, shit in history, that's crazy to me. And like one of the most famous stories for me was getting the nickname Stephen King Jr. I got that nickname in 11th grade by my English teacher after I did a essay on Mr. King himself. And if you guys don't know, I'm a very heavy Stephen King fan. not of everything, of course, but the majority of his work. Like, I appreciate King for what he does, and he's a humongous inspiration in my work. Him, R.L. Stine, because Goosebumps were my fucking childhood, and of course, there's another big one. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. But yeah, that's like two of the big inspirations for me. Then, of course, all the things that I watch, like Courage the Cowardly Dog and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, things like that. That was my shit as a kid. And I love that shit. Like, I was listening and watching, I was like watching stuff and like reading stuff that, kids my age should not have been reading. But hey, different time, different day. Probably couldn't do that nowadays, but hey, we did it, guys. We did it. But, to get the nickname Stephen King Jr., at the time, I was like, yeah, whatever. I just found it funny because it was funny. Because I don't look at myself as like a Stephen King of any kind. Stephen King's Stephen King. Like, he's known as the king of horror for a reason. Then I get called Stephen King Jr. I just left it off because I didn't take it seriously. But after starting my YouTube channel and like seeing people like, Barefoot Apple Acres, Reborn, and even being called Stephen King at one point because apparently I resemble Stephen King in a way, which I don't get that, but maybe when my face is shaved completely bald, I don't know. But yeah, I treat it as a compliment now because it's a huge compliment and a huge name for me to, like, what's the word? Embrace. Because getting compared to like one of the biggest, if not the biggest name in horror ever, that's crazy. So yeah, getting compared to like names like Orson Welles, Stephen King, like that's just something that, I overlooked it when I was little, but yeah, I look at it now as, huge stepping stones in my path as to where I am now. Because right now I'm at a really good point in my YouTube career where I'm just experimenting, just kind of trying to figure out how to expand my content and continue making content for you guys because, yeah, like I said earlier, Pony is not as big as it used to be. It's definitely died down a lot. Like, I'm not saying the fandom's dead. I'm just saying Pony content, it's nothing compared to like what it was in, say, 2016, 2015-ish. Like, after the show ended, yeah, it just died down. And when you're trying to make consistent content and FimFiction is just not giving you good shit to read, you've got to find an alternative. You've got to find something else. And I'll be honest with you guys, the only reason I go on FimFiction anymore is not to look up stories. I just go there to check, for things like comments and stuff. That's all I do. I've been more into just games and stuff like making Red Hill Academy. Like, that's where the idea for Red Hill Academy came from. Like, because, I play a lot of gacha games, which are anime based. And yeah, just like getting into doing artwork and trying different things to like push my content forward. That's not the reason that I started artwork, like doing art and drawing, all that stuff. At first, no, it was not my first like reason. I just wanted to try drawing because I'm like, can I draw? I've drawn before, but I don't know if I'm actually good at it. So I just tried it just to see if I could do it. And now it's one of my favorite things to do every single day. I love it. It's relaxing when I'm not molding over hand poses and shit like that. But I've gotten a lot more better over the course of doing Red Hill, and yeah, hopefully it just teaches me more. It definitely has taught me a lot of posing and a lot of different angles, different styles, things like that. Like just trying to like one style that I know I'm gonna run into eventually is chibi style, and that's mainly because it's an anime-esque kind of thing, and I see it all the time in mangas, like where there's like a silly conversation between like characters or something like that. They use like the heads as as just the visual. And I've already done that, but I kind of want to learn chibi style, which I know chibi style is basically the same exact concept, except a lot more like silly. And yeah, don't worry, I've definitely got the tools. This definitely is something that I can thank my first art teacher for, getting me, because she just got me that for fun. Uh, Unfortunately, she got me also some colored pencils, but that's when I was still doing traditional, and I just don't find traditional fun anymore. Because with traditional, I can do bodies just fine, but when it gets to the face and like you're trying to match the eyes and shit, nope, my brain just goes. My brain just turns off. And yes, I have tried the line, like the guidelines and shit, to try and match them. Does not ever work. The eye always looks off. I don't know what it is, but digital is my home. I love digital art because I can cheat. I can move things around. If something is out of place, I can just move it around than having to erase and not risk, ripping the paper. And yes, I know I shouldn't, just rely on digital, but it's where I'm comfy, and that's where I'm going to stick. So, yeah. And that's what, Red Hill's going to be. It's going to be all digital, art-based, but I'm trying and I'm experimenting with different things to just make it the best it can be. And hopefully you guys just enjoy it when it comes out, because I am looking forward to sharing it with you guys when it does come out. But I would be more anticipated for either early March or mid-March, because I don't know how long it's going to take to put the panels together with my editor. But let's just say I'm going to do my best, guys. I will keep you updated as well, just to make sure, or just to keep you guys updated, so that when it does get close to release, I can let you guys know ahead of time. But anyways, I think I'm gonna call it today, because my throat's actually starting to hurt a little bit. Not used to talking this much, guys. Not at all. But anyways, this was fun. I really enjoyed talking to you guys, especially about stuff like Red Hill and just like content in general. And I really do hope that when I do release Red Hill, you guys give it a chance at least. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But I guess we'll see. But anyways, guys, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you all so much for just continuing to support my content and subscribing and liking and all that stuff. And like I said, if you want to give any of the ones that I mentioned in this video a watch, like the Binding of Ice and Lightning and all that, you can. I think they're all on playlists. I know Reborn is for sure, the Redux. I know that Savior is. I know that the Bonding is. I know RTBAA is. Like, usually the big ones I always put on a playlist. So yeah, if you want to check those out, just look in the playlists. But have a great day, everyone, and thank you all for watching and just joining me this morning. And hopefully you all have a great day. And who knows, maybe I'll see you soon. But have a great day. Have a great day, guys.